What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Zigzag. My name is Corbin, and thank you for joining me here today. And we got a pretty jam-packed episode right now, and a lot of it is honestly going to be me talking about either hills I'm going to die on, or hot takes, or different things like that. So make sure you stay tuned for those random questions that are kind of thrown in and sprinkled in to this little rundown of this week inside the WWE. Of course, just like normal, we're starting off with NXT from last night, then moving on to SmackDown on Friday, and then Raw from Monday night. So I appreciate you guys for joining me, and let's just go ahead and hop right in. So, of course, the biggest news on NXT, Johnny Gargano is back where he belongs. NXT legend. Love Johnny Gargano but down in NXT, and now he's back. He's trying to get some of his swagger back. Candice LeRae was down there too, and they got a huge pop. I knew Johnny was going to get one. Like, obviously, whenever I saw Candice come out, I'm like, okay, well, Johnny's going to come out and the place is going to freak out. But even whenever Candice LeRae came out, people were freaking out about that as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then he goes on to win the gauntlet match because Charlie Dempsey and his group of people decided to attack Shiloh Hill, who had literally taken out everybody else in the gauntlet match. And Johnny Gargano happens to fall over on top of him and pick up the win. So now he's going to go fight Miles Bourne for the North American Championship, which I think is going to be a really good match. I'm actually really interested in where they go with this. What are my predictions, though? I think it would be kind of weird to have Johnny Gargano win the North American Championship. But the thing is that it would elevate the title a ton if Johnny Gargano could win it, hold it for a month or two, and then Miles Bourne chases it and wins it back. I feel like that would elevate the title quite a lot. I mean, even to a whole nother level, considering what Ethan Page did with it before Miles Bourne inevitably won it, probably a month ago, a few weeks ago. It'd be incredible. But I don't think Johnny winning is necessary. I wonder if this is going to kickstart some sort of feud for Johnny Gargano on NXT. Like maybe someone like Dion Lennox gets involved, or Charlie Dempsey, or even, someone in that group. I wouldn't see Shiloh Hill going after him because they're kind of two baby faces right now, and they're going to side with Johnny, and I feel like they're trying to get Shiloh over at the moment. So I'm going to say it would make sense for him to win, to elevate the title, but I'm not 100% sure they're going to do that. Maybe they're just trying to have him like build up some NXT talent in some sort of feud, like a Dion Lennox, like I just said, someone like that. Maybe that's the direction they're going. That would make sense to me. It also gives Johnny Gargano a spot to wrestle because, gosh, we haven't seen him wrestle in so long. And it hurts me to see Johnny wrestling just sidelined on SmackDown. And what they've been doing with him is pretty terrible. So I would like for him to stay on NXT. If that gives him a spot to wrestle and showcase his stuff and, bring up younger talent, that'd be awesome. So I'm all here for it. The main event scene on NXT has been fantastic, in my opinion. So, you got Tony D'Angelo, who's fantastic. He returned a few weeks ago. He's been showing up randomly and spearing people and hitting the choke slam and all this stuff. You got Joe Hendry, your champion. You got Ethan Page, who's probably one of the best heels down on NXT, who kind of has this Dominic effect going on where it's like people boo him. He's a bad guy, but you can't help but not like him because he's so good. And then, of course, you got Ricky Saints, who's good. I like Ricky Saints. I don't like him as much as Ethan Page, which people might flame me for. But I think Ethan Page is next level. I think he's going to be like the next superstar, like the next Seth Rollins, in my opinion. Which might be a little bit insane to say that, but he's going on that same trajectory, and I can see it from him. But Ricky Saints is doing fantastic in the main event scene as well. And these guys have been at each other's throats for weeks. Ethan Page and Ricky Saints have formed like a little bit of an alliance, but last night that kind of broke whenever they're both like asking for the championship, and they're like trying to like rip it back and forth from each other. So I feel like that's kind of dead. And then Tony D and Joe Hendry are kind of the baby faces in this scenario. I guess Tony D's a little bit of like an anti-hero. So not necessarily doing babyface good things, but also he's getting cheered. So a little bit of an anti-hero. And then I just think the dynamic of these four are fantastic. And what I said was a fatal four-way with Tony D'Angelo and Joe Hendry, Ethan Page, and Ricky Saints, I think is coming for sure. And I checked my phone right before I started recording this, and the match is official at Stand and Deliver. These four will be going at it for the NXT Championship. Sick. The match is going to be awesome. I'm super hyped for it. Moving over to SmackDown, Drew McIntyre bloodies up Jacob Fatu in the parking lot. Yeah, these two, this I love these kind of feuds where it's like you see them start fighting at the start of SmackDown, and then you see them get back into it in the middle of SmackDown, and then they end SmackDown beating each other up again. I think those kind of dynamics are so funny, and they just get me interested. They get me intrigued a little bit. So I'm happy with this. Like I said last week, I'm going to keep saying this because this is probably going to happen every single week. It's going to be Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu beating the hell out of each other in backstage segments, or maybe one goes out to the ring to call the other person out. They get into a brawl, spills to the outside. They end up in the parking lot, or, whatever. I'm really hoping for a TLC, no DQ, something of that sort, maybe a steel cage, something like that at WrestleMania. That's what this feud deserves. And slowly but surely, the way that they're booking these two and having them like hate each other and just like beating the hell out of each other, it's slowly creeping up there. Like, I'm getting more and more interested as their feud goes on. So I wonder like where this is going to sit in WrestleMania. Like, this could be a starting match. For like day 2 starting match, I feel like is the third most important match. It's obviously main event night 2 of WrestleMania. That's number 1. Main event of night 1, that's number 2. And then I think to start it off, those first matches of both days are important, but the second day I feel like is the more important day overall. Not saying that the matches on the first day don't matter, but typically the second day is the more important day off storylines and all that stuff like that. So it'd be the starting match on the first day. I feel like it's where these two could slide in and just really just build the audience up, because that's the most important thing. That's why the first match is so important. You gotta turn the fans up. You gotta give them an absolute feast to start off with in the first match, just so they will hold that energy all the way through all the second, third, fourth match. And then of course they'll definitely be hyped for the main event. That's not really a problem, but you want to set them up on a high and kind of keep them there. That's why the first match is so important. But having this just be a normal match between these two just wouldn't work, in my opinion. And then of course you get to the end of SmackDown and they get into a brawl, and Jacob Fatu like splashes him through the table. And then at the very end, they get into another fight in the parking lot, and they both fall off of a tower onto like maybe some cars. We didn't even really get to see it. We just watched them fall off the tower. I thought it was sick, and I'm interested. But as long as they make it a no DQ, I don't even think a street fight would work too. Just something of that nature. My goodness. This was probably one of the most unexpected title changes I've seen. Damian Priest and R-Truth win your tag team championships from the MFT, which I couldn't be more happy about. I'm so sick of the MFT Wyatt 6 thing, which it's still going, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit because I think the Lantern, what they're doing with it, is ridiculous. But they won, and I couldn't believe it, because I thought it was kind of just like, oh, we need like to maybe build a feud between Damian and R-Truth, and then the Wyatt 6 and the MFT, and it's kind of like all up in the air. And the Wyatt 6 get involved to make sure MFT don't cheat, and R-Truth hits JC Mateo with an attitude adjustment to win the match. And the best part about this match was Damian Priest's reaction. He sits there, and it's the 3 count like hits, And Damian acted like he didn't even know they were going to win. His reaction was so genuine. Like, I don't know if this is just Damian's like acting coming through and he did a great job, or if like they did this thing where they're like, oh, well, Damian, like obviously the MFTs are going to win this. So, the Y6 are going to come out and whatever. And then, they only told our truth. So you could have Damian Priest get like a real reaction. That is genuinely what it seemed like. Cause this dude looked so shocked. It was unbelievable. And I'm super happy they won the tag team championships because that means these two have a spot at WrestleMania. I'm fairly certain. They shouldn't lose the titles from any point on until Mania. That's cinema to me, because these two more than deserve a spot at Mania. And along with that, dude, R-Truth still moves like he's 25. He got JC Mateo up like easy for that AA. That's stupid. He's like 52 or something like that. Let me see. R-Truth age. I'm sorry, he's 54. He's 54, picking up JC Mateo, who is easily 300 pounds plus. Easily. That's unbelievable strength from Truth. And these two's dynamic, like I said last week, is going to be unmatched. So I'm so excited they won, and I just thought Damian Priest's reaction was just hilarious. Then we got a little backstage segment. Danhausen robs Candice LeRae. I just thought it was funny. Obviously steals the $20, but when are they going to give Danhausen a match? What's going on here? Because he's kind of just shown up in these backstage segments, which I'm fine with. They're all fantastic, but I really want him to be in a match. I feel like I've seen his in-ring stuff. He's pretty fantastic storytelling wise in the ring. He doesn't do anything too incredible. He has a lot of knees and some kicks, and he does the abdominal stretch as his finisher, and his moveset is nothing spectacular. But his storytelling, what he does in the ring, and how he like shows himself off is incredible. That's why I want to see him in a match, and I feel like if they gave him someone gimmicky, kind of like what he's like, someone like a Kit Wilson, or someone like I'm really trying to think of someone like super gimmicky in the ring, someone like more storytelling based. I mean, like Dominic, so is very good at storytelling. Gosh, I'm really trying to think of some other people. Oh, like a Grayson Waller. That'd be another person that'd be fantastic. So people like that would be a great match for him, just because they can both, instead of letting the fighting and wrestling like take the forefront, they would be doing different storytelling aspects to get the match over, which I think would be super fun. And you don't see that too many times nowadays. You see it from time to time. But I think these two would, whoever Danhausen's matched with would take it to another level. I'm hoping like he might be in this like Jelly Roll feud as well. I really don't know. Feel like it could be Matt Cardona, but also he kind of just got like attacked and maybe sent to Cancun by Randy Orton on a big vacation. Like I really don't know. So he could probably slide in there. That seems like it would fit pretty well, but I'm hoping we see him in the ring before WrestleMania, at WrestleMania, or just, like right after, because I don't want to wait like 6 months before I see Danhausen in a match, because I feel like his backstage stuff would get a little bit stale after too much time. So waiting to see him in the ring. The Black Mass finisher might be top 5 finishers in the company right now. It might be. That finisher is so clean. Every time he hits it, he gets the perfect smack on the leg, or on the face. And the way most people sell it is they do that like little like spin around and fall down, and it just looks so clean as long as the person takes it right. And here's another thing. During this match, of course, we get Aleister Black and Sami Zayn, and we got Trick Willie out on the outside. Are we hearing those boos for Sami Zayn? Here's the thing. The online community is always like, oh, I hate this person. I hate Sami Zayn. Oh, I hate The Miz, or, whatever. but they don't show that in the arena. So like usually they're like, "Oh, I hate Sami Zayn," but then he comes out and people are like, "Oh, it's Sami Zayn, hooray!" and they cheer for him. This time, Sami came out and there were actual boos. And of course, Trick Williams is technically supposed to be a heel, but every time he comes out, he gets cheered no end. I'm smelling a little double turn from these two. I think we get a WrestleMania match, Sami versus Trick, which I think for this, you don't need any stipulation. Straight up, just feud match, Sami versus Trick. And you're going to get Sami Zayn going heel, Trick Williams going face during this match. Something like that. A nice little double turn for the audience. And that can kind of set up Sami's heel run a little bit better. And then if you just let Trick Williams go face, I mean, he can just keep doing the same stuff he's already doing because people aren't booing him. So I don't think it'd be that bad of a turnaround for both of these two. And I just think them having that double turn would make for a better WrestleMania match in general. So I'm excited for that. But like I said, Black Mass finisher is just literally disgusting. Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley have their segment that I've not been very fond of if you've been listening in. But BFAB and Michin join sides with Jade Cargill. Why? What are my thoughts? Here's the problem I have with this. You're trying to add in like a new aspect to the Jade versus Rhea match, and I'm totally fine with that. But Jade Cargill has been like quote unquote bullying these two for like months on end, sidelined them to injury. They've now both come back and they join sides with the person that sidelined them and the person that bullied them. That to me just doesn't make a ton of sense. It gives BFAB and Michin a role, at least. I'm totally fine with that. I think they deserve to have roles and a bunch of TV time and all that kind of stuff, but it was kind of a cool turn because of course they pulled up and you were like, oh, Jade's about to get it, and then they of course go alongside with her and you're like, what? Oh, that's kind of crazy. But it wasn't anything like huge because the problem is it doesn't make any sense. If it was a thing where like we saw a backstage segment of Jade being like, oh, you really want to be on her side or you want to do this, if we had like a little bit of a setup and then they came out and then turned with Jade, it would make sense. But it was literally like they got bullied, they got sidelined and injured, Jade beat them up, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we join her side. And I guess it could be this thing of like, oh, if you can't beat them, join them. But it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I don't think it changes the fact that Rhea's going to win this match. I mean, I don't think BFAB and Michin are going to stop Rhea Ripley from winning. Unless they are really trying to find a way to not have every single title change hands at WrestleMania. Just talking about the big four. Because in my opinion, I think from how everything's being set up, every one of the main four titles are going to change sides. I don't see Stephanie Vaquer retaining. It's got to be Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's going to win. Roman Reigns is going to win. I think it would be dumb to have CM Punk win, honestly. I feel like it would be better if Roman won this one because he's hot right now. After, he's come back and he's done all this stuff, and hopefully he can be at a ton of Raws and he'll defend the title a lot and all this stuff. Who knows if that'll actually happen, but I want it to. So we got those two, and then of course we got Rhea taking it from Jade. I mean, that's gotta, she has to, right? And then, I can't even think of the last match for some reason. Oh, of course, Randy versus Cody. And I think at this point, it's almost time for Randy to win his 15th. I feel like it would make sense. So I see all the big four titles swapping hands. Now, all the other titles, probably not. Probably not. Like Penta, I don't see him losing the IC title. The the women's tag match that I think will end up happening. I don't see that happening. The only one maybe is the United States Championship. Tiffany and Julia, I think, is maybe what they're setting up for that, which I'll get to in a little bit. But again, I wonder if they're trying to find a way to have not every one of the big four championships move hands, and this is their attempt at it with BFAB and Michin, but it just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. What is a recent dream you remember? Okay, this was one of my Chat GPT questions that was thrown in here. What's a recent dream I remember? I had one a few nights ago. And it's funny that this is the one I remember because it actually has Logan Paul in it. I'm sitting there in my room and I'm talking with Logan Paul, and he's talking about like his Pokemon card collection, and I was like, oh dude, you should give me like, because he's teamed up with Rip It, his new company. I was like, okay, you should give me something from Rip It. And he was like, oh dude, I'll totally do that. And he was gonna give me this like one of one Pikachu hat artifact that was worth like $22 million that he said he could just give to me. And then I'm like freaking out, like super happy because it's so rare. And then this is gonna like get really dark really quick. I have like a stairway and then like an awning overlook in like to my upstairs going down to like the front entryway of my house. And Logan transformed into my sister's boyfriend, Carson. Shout out Carson, that's my guy. And he told me that he wasn't gonna give it to me anymore after I'd already like been really happy about it. And I was so mad that I was like, oh, you took that away from me, I'm gonna take away the thing you like. So my sister was like sitting there like next to the overlook, and I pushed my sister over the ledge, and she fell down to my like to the entryway, like fell down like a floor, probably like, you know, like a 10 or 12 foot drop, whatever it is. And she like landed on the ground, which is terrible. I would never do that. And then I ran downstairs, and my parents were like, oh, what happened? And I was like still mad at Carson for not giving me that. And then all of a sudden I was on a set of Harry Potter, and I was getting chased by oh gosh, Dementors, but they could swim now. So I jumped into the water and started like going underneath like all these tunnels, and they were following me. Yeah, I like that's like a melatonin dream, right? Like I'm explaining this to you, and you actually I probably sound like I'm on like crack or something like that. Like it sounds ridiculous, but I think dreams are so interesting. If you guys have never done this, next time you have a dream, I want you to go and like ask ChatGPT what the dream means, because there are like things out there where it's like, what does this symbol mean in a dream? What does this mean? Like I had one, and it was like where a whale was dying, and a whale is like a symbol for something in dreams. Oh, let me ask what it is. What's the whale symbol in a dream mean? There's like a specific meaning of every time you see a whale in your dream, it means this thing. It means it searches for emotional depth, inner strength, and a subconscious mind. So everything in a dream has, not everything, of course, but most things have a reason behind it. And I've kind of been getting into that. Like every time I have a dream, I wake up and I'll just like ask ChatGPT what it means. It might not be 100% correct, but you know, it's better than what I got. And I kind of like sit there and be like, oh, this means that I'm stressed out probably because I'm seeing this, or oh, I'm trying to find inner peace because I was on a vacation with my best friend and I haven't seen him in forever. Things like that. So I just think it's kind of interesting, but that's my recent dream. Logan Paul turned into my sister's boyfriend, Carson. I shoved my sister down the stairs because I was mad at him. Super weird. And then all of a sudden I was playing as Harry Potter, swimming through some water, getting chased by Dementors. What the heck? On the next question. So, this is regarding the MFTs and the YS6. Are they treating the lantern like it's the freaking One Ring from Lord of the Rings? I'm so confused. They had this backstage segment, and Tama Tonga's like looking at the lantern, and Solo's like messing with it, and Tama's like, dude, you need to give the lantern back. It's changing you, bro. Like, are we serious? This is literally just Lord of the Rings. And then they were like, Solo's acting different. It's making you act like Roman. So you're telling me this lantern is making Solo Sikoa act like the original Roman Reigns. So this is what I'm hoping. Let's just break up the MFT. Let's break up the MFT. Let's give the lantern back, and let's let Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga go off on their own. And I don't care what you do with the rest of them. I really don't. As nice people as they are, I could literally care less what happens to them. I hope they do well for themselves in their lives. But the only two people I care about in the MFT are Solo and Tama Tonga. So I just thought this backstage segment was just so insane because it is literally just copying Lord of the Rings. But instead of a cool ring with a bunch of backstory, it's a freaking lantern. What are we doing? Just in case anybody thought Mello and Ilya were done and they couldn't go anymore, you're wrong, because that match was freaking nuts. It's been a minute since I've mentioned Carmelo Hayes, because every single week he defends a title and every single week he wins, and it's a great match, and there's not really much for me to talk about. This is kind of just me re-showcasing these two. This match was great. Tons of false finishes, and along with that, he ends the match with a roll-up. So I just thought it was sick. Just a sick match. They always do a great job, so shout out to them too. Jelly Roll's backstage promo about Randy's family and how he's a better man. He's been a better man since he's joined his family. I just thought it was a fire promo. I think that people don't fully understand that Jelly Roll understands the business. He understands different angles better than people know. And whenever he's out here talking to Randy about this segment, he's like, dude, like, you don't want to be that old guy. Like that guy wasn't a good guy. That guy's not a family man, like all that kind of stuff. And then he sounds like it's coming from the bottom of his heart. He sounds like it's genuine. He's seriously like a good actor. And I think it's not even 100% him acting. It's more like he's putting on like more of a facade. And I don't know, just the way Jelly Roll has been acting on SmackDown with this thing it's been fantastic. He sounds like he actually cares for Randy, which he probably does. They're 100% friends in real life, but the step that he's taking it to is like an emotional level. And you know, people are always like, well, Jelly Roll, who cares about him? Oh, this guy sucks. He doesn't. His promo skills are fantastic. That's something that a lot of celebrities struggle with whenever they try and do this, like Johnny Knoxville and Bad Bunny. It's not necessarily that they're bad at it. It's just that their promo skills don't like elevate them at all. I feel like Jelly Roll's promo skills are incredible, and they're not even they're adding to his feud that he's in, which I'm gonna get to, but he's elevating the main event scene with his promo, in my opinion. I think that this was so good. He's like trying to reason with the guy that just literally tried to kill Cody Rhodes. He's like, you don't want to be that guy. You want to be the family man and all this stuff. And it was fantastic. Kit Wilson and Jelly Roll had, I think, potentially the funniest segment I've ever seen since I've started rewatching, or potentially ever. The roasts that these two gave each other were so funny. So funny. And I think Kit and Jelly are building an actual good storyline that's more comedic, but it's working. Because you're taking an outside guy in Jelly Roll, and you're taking this, you know, feminine sympathizer type character in Kit Wilson. And you think it's funny, but they're going to back it up in the ring as well. And then we're getting Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson next week on SmackDown, which I think it's going to lead to an interference by The Miz. And then the partner of Jelly will make himself present in this moment, kind of setting up a 2v2 for WrestleMania, which if I can get Miz, Jelly, Kit Wilson, and another person in on this match so they can have a WrestleMania moment all together, cinema. Absolute cinema. I will be so happy about this. But the segment that they brought, just the slam poetry, I could not believe some of the stuff they said, like the stuff Jelly Roll was saying, like, I'm gonna put it on your mother's back and stuff like that. That was crazy. Kit Wilson, the best one from Kit, in my opinion, was At Least We Know Ozempic Works. That one was great. So those were like the two highlights. If you want to go rewatch it, definitely suggest it. But super hyped about this. And it kind of shows that SmackDown is maybe actually like putting some thought into their stuff. So that's pretty cool. I just sneezed. That's why there's a big old cut there. So moving on. Surely we are getting a ladder match for the women's tag titles at Mania. Who do I think will be in it? I think the setup here is just like you have all this like rotating door of tag teams for the women's division that are coming in. Someone else is getting involved. Their opportunity is getting ruined. They fight each other now. And it's like the irresistible forces are kind of like they're winning and doing well with the titles, but also all these other groups are mad at them, but they're also mad at each other because they're ruining each other's opportunities. So I think it's going to lead to like a big ladder match at Mania for the girls. Think it's going to have the Bella Twins. Obviously, for some reason, they're back in the WWE. The Irresistible Forces, of course, your tag champions. I'm pretty sure they're going to go into Mania as tag champs. I don't see them losing. You have Charlexa, who obviously are going to be in there. I think the Kabuki Warriors will be in as well. I feel like they're still a established tag team. They haven't quite made the split yet. But also we could be getting something where we get, like I said, I've been saying, we could end up getting Kairi and Asuka, or Kairi and Asuka and Io all in a match, or something of that nature. So they're very much a maybe, like a big maybe, because they might be doing their own thing, but it wouldn't shock me if they decided not to pull the trigger on that storyline yet, and they were also in here. And then I do have also another maybe of Raquel and Roxanne Perez, because you got Liv doing her thing. I feel like it would only make sense to have the rest of the Judgment Day in Raquel and Roxanne do their thing, because you're going to have JD get involved with the guys match anyways, potentially Liv as well. I really just don't know how that dynamic's going to work out for that match, but I think Raquel and Roxanne deserve a moment in the women's tag title picture at Mania. Do I necessarily think they're going to be a force to reckon with? No, I don't think they'd win, but it would be nice to have them in there. If anybody's going to win, I think the Irresistible Forces are just going to retain. I think they should retain. I think they're actually doing a good job making the titles look strong, just because they've been like absolute killers in the women's division so far. So, next week on SmackDown, we are getting Tiffany Stratton versus Julia. What is my prediction? What does it mean for Mania? I thought they were really going to hold off on this, personally. Thought they were going to try and hold off as much as they could so we'd get the first match of these two at WrestleMania. So I'm wondering if they're maybe going to pivot away from that and they're going to do something a little bit different. What I could see is maybe, like a multi-girl match for the U.S. title. Maybe, like, hopefully Chelsea is cleared by then. I'm not 100% sure if she will be, but she's been in that picture where it's like she shows up in the background, they wheel her off in the wheelchair. So if she's ready, she could be in there. If she's not, like, you could even put Alba Fire in there. I wouldn't be mad at that. Obviously, she wouldn't win, but she could at least be representing Chelsea Green. Chelsea could get involved. But you could have Tiffany and Julia and Io Sky, and maybe you even put in like one of the Kabuki Warriors, and that could be a way we could see Kairi screw over Asuka, or vice versa. So I wonder how they're gonna build the women's U.S. title from this. Um, I'm not 100% sure why they do this so early, because I thought it was just gonna be Tiffany versus Julia at Mania, just straight up 1-on-1. But I feel like if they're doing it this early, I don't think that's gonna be the case. Ooh, surprisingly enough, Matt Cardona gets sent to Cancun for a little bit, because Randy just murked him, pretty much. This is kind of weird to me, because I thought Matt Cardona was gonna be the final person in the Jelly Roll Kit Wilson Miz dynamic, and because he kind of just got his like arm broken or arm hurt, whatever you want to make out with that. Don't really know where he fits in. I feel like him missing WrestleMania would suck, and I don't want him to, but hopefully he just stays away from Randy and he goes and does the segment with Kit Wilson and stuff. But Randy destroys him. That's pretty cool. Kind of just builds up, the heel character. But the thing is like, people aren't going to ever be mad at Randy. It's Randy Orton. He's a legend. He's the greatest of all time. I mean, come on. The finish to SmackDown, like I said earlier, was just Drew and Jacob throwing each other off the building. Feud's heating up. I love it. I don't have anything else to say about them. Here's the questions I was talking about earlier. Who's a wrestler everyone loves, but you do not? Male and female. The first one is pretty obvious, if you've listened to any of my opinions. Female, number one, Charlotte Flair. I cannot stand Charlotte Flair. I'm sure she's a nice person. She does an okay job. I'm not saying she's terrible, but I think she is heavily, heavily, heavily overrated. I mean, unbelievably overrated. I think her moveset is so stale, and I think her promos are fine. I think the only reason she's over is because her dad said woo. If I'm being honest, I think she's so bland, and especially compared to Alexa Bliss, who is she's just so much better. And you pair them together, and I get to see Alexa do her stuff, and I'm like, gosh, she's so good. And then I see Charlotte, and I'm like, why do people like her? Again, everybody loves Charlotte. I literally heard people in my dining hall the other day talking, oh, dude, I love Charlotte Flair so much, and they got her paired with that Bliss girl. And it was all I could say to do, just not to turn around and be like, bro, are you like an idiot? Just thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah, not a Charlotte Flair fan. I have so many reasons why I don't like her. It could be an entire episode. But she is just not it. I hate her finishers. I think the figure eight is a fine finisher. It's not the worst I've ever seen. But to me, it's whatever. I even said last week in my episode that I think the natural selection is one of the worst finishers in the WWE. So I think her moonsault can look good, but other than that, she's tall and clunky. I think her promo skills are mediocre. She got over from a woo from her dad. She's got some Nepo baby in her. And if you don't agree with this, that's totally fine. But she's like a 10 plus time women's champion. I could name you 50 better female superstars than Charlotte Flair. And I could do it right now. And if you think I can't, put something down in the comment section and say, name the 50. And I will comment back with all 50. I will sit there and I will be like, oh, here we go. Chyna, Alexa Bliss, Kiana James. I will literally go through an entire list of girls that are better than Charlotte Flair for you if you want me to, but I'm not going to right here because that's going to take too long. So how many titles does Charlotte Flair have? Let's see. I'm waiting for she has 14 world championships, 2 NXT titles, and 2 tag team titles. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. I I cannot understand the love for Charlotte Flair. And male, who's a male wrestler everyone loves, but I don't. I don't like CM Punk. I don't like him that much. It's not that it's not even that I necessarily don't like him. I think he's fine, but everybody like, dude, everybody's just got his meat in their mouth, and I'm no, just no. I don't understand what people see in him. Like way back in the day, like okay, I could see it, but his in-ring stuff is not spectacular. His mic skills are great. Can't take anything away from that. His mic skills are fantastic. His only problem is he says the same thing over and over and over again in every single feud. He did it to Drew, he did it to Seth, and he's doing it to Roman Reigns. He says the same thing every single week. He doesn't have any variety, and I'm not saying that's necessarily the worst thing ever, but for me, I would just like him to find some new material. That's all I'm saying. And some people think he's just the most unbelievable wrestler of all time. I don't see it. I don't see it. His finisher's fine. There's just nothing special about CM Punk, and I don't understand why everybody thinks he's so fantastic. Again, there's so many other wrestlers that are in the mid card right now that I'd rather watch than CM Punk. I'd rather watch a Javon Evans. I'd rather watch an El Grande Americano. I'd rather watch Rayo and Bravo. I'd rather go over to AAA and watch Hijo del Vikingo. I'd rather see the Psycho Clowns. Like, I could keep the list going because these people are much more entertaining than CM Punk. Now, his storytelling does bring him up a little bit, but at the same time, it's not better than, the storytelling of someone like a Drew McIntyre, like a Dirty Dom, like a Liv Morgan, like people like this that elevate, because their in-ring storytelling so good, like a Danhausen, for example, which people are going to be pissed about because people love to glaze CM Punk. I just don't understand where the love comes from. Moving over to Raw. Dean Ambrose mentioned on Raw. Do I want him back in the WWE? This is such a tough question to answer. And I did something similar like this with Ludwig Kaiser. Of course, we don't know where he is, but he's kind of in a similar situation where he's not himself at the moment, and he's someone different. I don't even know what I'm referencing, but that's just like, that's me maybe just talking out of my butt a little bit. But if you understand where I'm coming from with that, you understand. Dean Ambrose being mentioned is awesome because I love Dean Ambrose. I always have. I grew up watching him. But him back in the WWE, this sucks because the inner kid in me is like, let's get the Shield back together. Let's have the Lunatic Fringe back. And I do want that. The problem is he's so successful in AEW, it almost might hurt him to come back to the WWE, hurt his career. So it's such a tough question to answer because I of course you want the best for the people you watched whenever you grew up, and I would love that Shield reunion. It's gonna hit like crack, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. I hope it does. The selfish part of me wants to see Dean Ambrose back in the WWE, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. Obafemi comes out and gets the best of Brock Lesnar yet again. How far are they willing to push Obafemi? Like, whenever I'm thinking about this, he hasn't lost a match on the main roster yet. How far are they willing to push? Are they going to have him beat Brock Lesnar at Mania? The only thing is you can't have Obafemi get the best of Brock every single week. Like, I think next week he's going to be on Raw. You got to have Oba get like F5s by Brock Lesnar or something like that. Because you got to make sure these two are on a competitive level. You don't want to make Brock Lesnar look like the underdog. You don't want Brock Lesnar to be the underdog going into Mania. You want Obafemi to be still punching above his weight at the Beast Incarnate, but you do still want to make Oba look as strong as Brock. So I understand what they're doing by having him, fall from grace and then, hitting him over the top rope. I think what they're doing with the feud is good. I just wouldn't have Oba win every single Raw engagement up till Mania, and then he becomes the favorite to win, quote unquote, and then you have Brock Lesnar win. I feel like that would kind of squash the momentum. I'd rather it be like Brock consistently is getting the best of Oba, and then Oba wins, or Oba barely loses, and it's like that's still building his character quite a lot. But I hope Oba wins at Mania. I feel like he deserves it. Jey Uso, well, the Usos versus the Vision, and Jey Uso levels both Austin Theory and Logan Paul with some brass knuckles. So the Vision picks up the win, but not the gold. Where are they going to go from here? Does LA Knight fit in somewhere here? I'm a little bit confused because you have Jay taking on this more aggressive persona, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the Vision's got to win the tag titles at some point, right? Like at Mania potentially or something like that. I know they might be doing this thing with Seth Rollins, but I've heard reports that Braun Breaker might be back, so that might be in full effect. So I don't really know where this storyline is going to go, and I don't know where LA Knight's fitting in because they keep bringing him back up into this, and he's going to fight against the Usos if they start becoming more like the Bloodline, which is not what he wants, and things like that. So I'm not 100% sure. I hope LA Knight doesn't get screwed out of Mania this year, but where right now I don't see where he fits in. We are officially getting Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. How are they going to build this? I really don't know. We have a few weeks left, 3 weeks, I believe, or a month, 3 weeks to a month. So you have some time to build these two up. I feel like you could get another AJ Lee title defense in these 4 weeks without Becky getting involved, and it would be okay. Or maybe Becky does get involved and not necessarily screw AJ from winning, but maybe just have the match get thrown out. I would like to see AJ defend it more than one time, because I do think she's going to lose it to Becky at Mania. Potentially not. Maybe they keep this going for a little while longer, but it'd be a cool stage to have Becky Lynch win it back against the person who's gotten the best of her 3 separate times at 3 big PLEs. So don't 100% know where they're going to go. I don't know how they're exactly going to build it, but I think it's just going to end up being a straight up one-on-one match for the IC title. If Grayson Waller and the New Day split, does New Day end up babyface again? Where does Grayson Waller go? Here's the problem I have. I love Grayson Waller. I think he's fantastic. I think he could be the next Miz. Genuinely think he has the skill level and the in-ring and the mic skills and the charisma to be the next Miz of some sort. I hope he splits off from the New Day to go do like a single thing. Or maybe he feuds with the New Day and that's like kind of a dynamic that they do. But does the New Day end up babyface? Because Kofi has been acting more like a babyface kind of character the past few weeks since Xavier Woods has been gone. He's trying to recruit Javon Evans and he's being nice to Javon and all this stuff. But the person that gets screwed here if they go babyface is Grayson Waller. And here's my thing. Spring cleaning's coming up, and it's the worst day of the year in my opinion. Seeing the different people get let go always kills me, because that could be the end of their career, and you really do hate to see that. Or maybe not. Maybe they're gonna go do the Drew McIntyre, do the Cody Rhodes, and they're gonna go reinvent themselves and come back to the Matt Cardona, I guess. So I think Grayson Waller is way too good to be let go, way too good, and I fear if they decide to split him off from the New Day, he's going to be stuck in La La Land over here. and they're going to be like, well, we don't have a use for him. Why would we pay him? And then he's going to get let go just because he's fallen into some unfortunate circumstance. So, too good to be let go. I hope that doesn't happen. But again, I don't know where Grayson Waller goes from here. We got a would you rather. Would I rather be famous for something dumb, or would you rather be unknown for something incredible? Duh. Be famous for something dumb. You're telling, like, that's what I'm doing right now. Like, also, I'm going to base this off of like, my skill set. I am, like, if I could cure cancer, find the cure for cancer, of course, I'd want to be unknown for the guy who cures cancer. That'd be great, but I'm not that smart. I'm not doing anything in, science or medical stuff, so that's not in my skill level. I feel like I'd be famous for something dumb. Like, I'm sitting here talking to you about wrestling in the WWE. That's dumb, but it's awesome. It's fun. It's super fun that I can sit here and do this. So I'd much rather be famous for something quote unquote dumb, even though you and I obviously both enjoy it. So I'd rather be famous for something dumb. Why not? I don't care. Street fight. Usos versus The Vision next week. What is my prediction? This is where all the funky stuff is going to happen. This is where you're going to maybe get a Seth Rollins getting involved, or Braun Breaker comes back, or you get an LA Knight getting involved. Something like that. Could we see like a double turn of some sort where maybe we're now going to get a 3-on-3 where it's like maybe LA Knight joins The Vision or something like that. Like of course I'm completely spitballing. That would not make any sense at all. But I'm just saying it's like maybe you get Jey Uso joins The Vision or something like that, and Seth Rollins comes back, and now you have like Jimmy Uso and LA Knight and Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul and Austin Theory and Jey Uso, or something like that at Mania, like something crazy along those lines. I don't necessarily who I see winning. I feel like The Vision winning could make some sense, but I don't think they necessarily will. But they could. Again, the Usos and Vision thing, they've been pouring like so much into it, but so little into it at the exact same time. Like, they've put thought into it, and they have the characters ready to go, and they have the story surrounding it, but they haven't put anything in place yet for me to actually make a prediction. So it's going to be a great match. Don't know who's going to win. Don't really know who's going to show up, but just be ready for an awesome match. Seth Rollins gets arrested. I actually love the storylines where people get arrested, because this is where you can have your awesome intros. Like, you remember when the Shield got arrested and they came in a cop car? That was sick. You have Dominic Mysterio, who came out of a cop car in his WrestleMania entrance, one of the most iconic of all time. You've had this storyline play out a ton of different times, and I love it every single time. Like, it could be a thing where next week it's Vision versus the Usos in their street fight, and you hear that siren going off, and all of a sudden you see Seth Rollins get out of the car and start sprinting towards the ring. He stomps, Logan Paul into the mat and helps the Usos pick up the victory, something like that. But him getting arrested, love these storylines. I just wonder what happens with Seth at Mania. If it's not I just think it's not Mania without Seth freaking Rollins. That's the thing. Mania without Seth would be like a giant chunk missing in the 2-day amazing event that we're gonna get. And here's the thing. Here's the thing about the promo between Paul and Seth. Paul was going through all the people in the Vision. It's like, oh, Bronson Reed, he's hurt with a bicep injury. Both my guys, Austin Theory and Logan Paul, are in the, are barely conscious from Jey Uso and the Nux. I don't remember him mentioning Braun Breaker being hurt in this promo. I might be completely wrong. You might be, well, of course, he said him first. I genuinely don't remember. So if he didn't actually say him, could this be a reference to Braun Breaker being ready to go? I hope it is, because then you could easily get Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins, which was the original plan, but of course, injuries. We are seeing more arguing with the Kabuki Warriors. I've brought this up numerous times, but I wonder how they're going to do it. This deserves to be a big moment, and I think Io is potentially trying to turn Kairi Sane, kind of like an angel on Kairi's shoulder. I'm going to bring this up every week until it happens, because this is like a storyline I'm genuinely caring about, I'm curious about, just because I'm a Kairi fan. It should be at Mania, I think, or right before Mania. Like I said, these two deserve to have a one-on-one. I wonder how Io's going to be involved, if maybe they're going to have like a triple threat match of some sort, something like that. But just, I wonder how they're going to do this turn where it's like Kairi has enough in the ring, kind of like a Otis. Like, you remember when Otis and Chad Gable broke up, you finally had Otis like manhandle Chad Gable because he had enough of the stuff that was going on. And then of course they ended up having a match a few weeks later. That wasn't on like a super big stage, but I feel like this one could be, and they could do something similar to that. Danhausen curses I show speed. What does this mean for Speed? Also, could he take this bit and like move it into his streams outside the world of WWE? I was just so confused on why Speed is here. I like Speed. I think he's pretty freaking hilarious. But then Danhausen beats him in a race, which I thought was funny because, Danhausen has kind of been shown to like be able to teleport a little bit. And so he teleports and beats I Show Speed in a race. But, Speed has been training. He had that YouTube series where he was training to be a WWE superstar. So could we get I Show Speed versus Danhausen at some point or something like that? I mean, bro, maybe. Who knows? I mean, who knows with the current state of the WWE where this could be going? I wouldn't mind it. I mean, screw it. Why not? We got Jelly Roll in the ring. Why not I Show Speed? The dude's a freak of an athlete. So I think he could probably do a fantastic job. But I think Speed, with his involvement in the WWE and how much he likes it, I could see him going onto his streams and he's like hanging out with someone, and then all of a sudden he has someone like drop like a pot, like a breakable pot onto his head, and he like blames it on the curse, and we could like see all this stuff, and then they could use that on WWE TV and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. Raw has built the Stephanie and Liv storyline to seem like they actually hate each other. They've done a great job. Literally every week, you just have Stephanie and Liv get into a cat fight, pulling each other's hair, throwing each other into, a stack of chairs, and, just beating on each other consistently. It's great. They constantly insult each other's home lives or opportunities and all this stuff. It's great. They've done a fantastic job. Keep it going. I'm intrigued for this fight. What would be your entrance theme right now if you had one? Steal one person's current theme and then have your own. If I could steal a person's current theme that would kind of fit my vibe, I'm thinking it needs to be like a fun theme, because I feel like I'm kind of a fun guy. So not like a super serious theme like a Braun Breaker or something like that, but something like hype. Like Bring the Swag, the Street Profits intro would be pretty cool. Whose would I steal? Oh, I'm stealing Asuka's. I'm stealing the Future Asuka's theme song. I think that's such a banger, and I think that can like fit for anyone. And it's kind of like it's like a little bit more lighthearted, but it also has like a cool meaning behind it, and some good lyrics, and it's a banger. So I'll steal the Future Asuka's, and then if I had my own, if I had to debut right now and they were like, here, we'll buy the rights to any song you want, and that'll be your intro, I'm picking Two-Faced by Linkin Park. That's been my my jam recently. If you haven't heard it, I would definitely, chuck it on. But I think like if I had to have like an intro, I feel like that would be a good wrestling intro to have. It's like, you know, more heavy metal, but it's also got like a little bit of an electric vibe. Fits pretty well. My Siri's yelling at me. Shut up. Hate that thing. Finn returns to cost Dominic Mysterio. He also ends up getting revenge on JD with a coup de grace. This feud will build for the next 4 weeks, and it is going to feed families. Sit back and enjoy. I do wonder if we will get a stipulation for the match at Mania. Finn returning was awesome. You obviously knew he was going to return, but I liked how they played his theme music, how they had the catch your breath theme all of a sudden come on, and then that's the pop he got was huge, and you have Dominic like sitting on the rope looking like he saw a ghost. Obviously loses the title match to Penta with a roll up right after that. So Penta's still the IC champ, W, and Finn gets his lick back a little bit. And I think every week on Raw we're gonna see something with these two or these three, I guess, if you want to throw in JD. And I'm just excited. You guys, if you've been watching, I've been anticipating this turn from Finn Balor to set up Dom versus Finn at Mania, and I'm so ecstatic. In the quote unquote main event, you had the Usos come out to interrogate CM Punk a little bit, and then of course Roman ends up coming out. Roman gets annoyed and kind of throws the Usos out of the ring. And then Jay's like, go get him, go smash him. And Roman turns around and destroys CM Punk with a spear and then a power bomb through the announce desk. Sick. I actually thought the segment was pretty stale, like on the mic throughout the whole thing, because like the Usos being involved. Here's what I'm gonna say. During the segment, I was like, are the Usos like kind of bringing this feud down a little bit? Like, I wish it was just Roman and Punk, which I still do. I think it should just be Roman and Punk going at each other for the most part. But I think the line by Jay, the go get him, smash him, was pretty sick, because then he literally just goes and destroys him. I just hope, like, personally, that's the end of the Usos' involvement with this feud, because I want them to focus on the tag titles, because they're kind of not doing anything with those at the moment. They literally are just like doing stuff with the Vision, and I hope they end up losing it if they are gonna continue with the Usos being with Roman in this CM Punk feud. So I just hope that's the end of their involvement, so they can focus on building up the tag titles a little bit more. But that's kind of all I got for Raw. It was just a really cool moment to have him say, "Go get him, smash him," and then Roman just lights him up. What's a WWE hill you are willing to die on? Oh, what am I willing to die on? Randy Orton's the greatest of all time. Undisputed. Greatest of all time. He's got the championships to back it up. He's got the best finisher of all time. He's got, one of the greatest heel runs ever. He's never been bad. That's his thing. He's never fallen off. He's literally been in a consistent prime from 2007 to 2026. Here's my problem with John Cena. Even if I'm going to take out the bias of me just not really being the biggest fan of him, he is, he's been in his prime, and then he's gone away, and he's come back, and he's done fine, but then he's fallen off again, and then he's been on this up and down pattern. Now he's won the most championships all time. Congrats. I don't look at championships, if I'm being honest. I look at in-ring. I look at what they have done for the company, which he's of course done a ton. I'm not saying that. But I don't think, oh, well, Triple H has, this many titles. That means he's the fifth best of all time. That's not how it flows, in my opinion. So that's what a lot of people say. They're like, well, John Cena has the most. That's why he's the greatest of all time. That's what WWE says. And I think it's the stupidest thing ever, because he's not the greatest of all time. It's Randy Orton. I will debate with this with anyone on any given day. So Randy Orton's greatest of all time. I will not be told otherwise, and I will not take any slander, any other opinion on people that are, that you think are better than Randy, because it's just not true. And if he's not your number one greatest of all time, that's fine. It's fine, but it doesn't mean you're right. And also, if Randy Orton's not in your top 4 all time, you are definitely wrong. So that's all I'm saying. This is my last question for the day. What's a hot take that will potentially make people hate you? Like one where you are 1 in a million on. Ooh. I want to try and go deep cut with this one. The first thing that comes to mind, of course, is Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul is literally one of the best wrestlers in the company, and people literally have you like crucified for saying that. But he is. He just is. He's fantastic on the mic. His in-ring is stupid because he's a stupid athlete. But there are people out there that are now like acknowledging that Logan is really good, and he's probably as good as he says he is. I'm 1 in a million on. I feel like there's a lot. Here's a random one. I think Cody Rhodes' current theme song is his worst theme song. That might be an extremely hot take. I think all the versions of Smoke and Mirrors that he had whenever he was originally in WWE are way better. And I like Kingdom. I'm not saying it's a bad theme song, but the Smoke and Mirrors theme is just such a banger. So, but that won't really make you hate me. That's kind of just like a preference. What? I'm really trying to think of some good ones for you. I mean, another good one is I think Dominic Mysterio by the end of his run is going to be considered one of the greatest of all time. I think the same with Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is one of the greatest of all time as well. I think he's in the top 4 greatest to ever do it already, and his career is not even done. I mean, another hot take is I don't like John Cena. I think John Cena's stale. I think his promos are good. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great what he did for Make-A-Wish, but I've seen the way he acts outside of the WWE, and he kind of just seems like a pompous, arrogant douchebag. So, and I know a lot of people will be like, what? No, he's not. But it's like, if you look at people's reactions to meeting him or the way he was on Total Divas, he didn't seem like a very genuine guy. He didn't seem very down to earth. And I feel like there are some people out there who have to put their accomplishments at the forefront to prove that they are a good person, and he does that all the time. And honestly, I think it kind of pisses me off. So that's the reason I don't like John Cena very much. I think he's fine. There's nothing like it's just whatever, but I think people give him a bit too much credit for some things. And that might make you hate me, and that's okay. And if you love John Cena, it's totally fine. But I don't. Another 1 in a million hill I'm willing to die on. Well, I already said it earlier. I think Charlotte Flair is terrible. I think she's terrible. That's pretty much what I was getting at. I know people won't agree with that. Here's another one. I've said this before. I don't think Def Rebel is that bad. I don't think they're bad at all. I think that some of their music is bad, but I think most people who have made a theme song make bad ones. And I think they just get too much flack for it. One other one is I don't think Triple H is doing that terrible of a job, which might have you coming for my throat, but he's not the only person in that writer room. He's not. There are many, many people in that writer's room trying to figure stuff out, and I think people like Michael Hayes and some of the other people in there are the bigger problem than Triple H. And I think Triple H honestly has done a good job, and he's just trying to get his footing. And I think people give him too much hate because they're like, oh, he's not Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon had some very questionable storylines that you guys are forgetting about. Tons of questionable ones that I'm not going to get into. But he was not perfect like people think. And I think that people are expecting Triple H to be exactly like Vince McMahon, and we'll never have a Vince McMahon ever again. But also, Triple H needs to find a way to do his own thing, and he's been doing perfectly fine with it ever since Vince left. Another thing that's going to make people potentially hate me is that this might be insane to say. The CM Punk one, yeah, I was already touching on that. I think that American crowds suck. And that, I don't even think that's not even a hot take, but I just want to put this one out there. The American crowds are terrible comparatively. Every single time they go overseas, those crowds are fantastic. Well, except for the one in Saudi Arabia for the Royal Rumble. That crowd was just dog. It was awful. So overseas crowds like Belgium and England and, oh my gosh, Germany and France, like, give me a break. They are nonstop 100% of the time, and the fans are such an important part of the match itself that sometimes you go to these places like not Madison Square Garden. They do a good job. You go to these places like Massachusetts. No, that's Boston. Boston does good too. I'm trying to think of like bad cities, but I just keep like stumbling upon ones that are good. Like if you go to Kentucky, like wherever they go in Kentucky, that crowd sucks or something like that. Like they don't bring the energy like they do in overseas crowds. And yeah, I think it's quite unfortunate. And I think people in America need to like lock in and genuinely care more whenever they go to these different events. Like, you think it's just, oh, it's just another Raw for us and we're going to go, but you need to be hype. You need to be that cheering section or booing section for whoever, because the people make the matches half the time. Those are just some of my hot takes. I think I have more. I just can't think of them. I have an exam in about an hour, so probably going to do a tad bit more studying and then go probably fail it. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on this episode of The Zigzag. If you could do me a favor, go down below and check out my links to my TikTok, Instagram, and other YouTube content. If you have joined me today for this, kind of long, hour and 15-ish minute episode, I really appreciate you. If you have other questions you want me to answer down below, please let me know. If you want to watch this on YouTube, if you're listening on a podcast, that YouTube is The Zigzag. Or if you want to be able to find it easier, put at _zigzag06. That's an easy way to find it. And I also want to thank you guys so much, because we have just hit 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel, which I cannot tell you like how happy that makes me, that I can sit here and do this and I have a little bit of a following behind me. And it really just makes me happy to see that. I also have a new YouTube video out. I'm comparing certain Pokemon to WWE wrestlers, kind of giving them each a companion. So please go check that out. It's like my best video that I've done so far, obviously, because the view count is way higher than I feel like it should be. But I thank you guys for for listening to it and watching it. So I just want to thank you guys for joining me. That's all I got for you. So I hope you have a wonderful day.